My idiot brother came home for the holidays and brought his 6-year-old kid along. The kid was antisocial, as hell barely said a word to anyone. Everyone assumed I'd step up and be the perfect self-sacrificing aunt. But reality, yeah right, I slept in until noon every day. The poor kid was forced to come in and drag my ass out of bed just so he wouldn't starve. I dangle a bag of Doritos in front of his face, refusing to hand them over until he bowed down and called me my queen. It was a total power trip. Everything was going great, until one day a little live stream chat started scrolling across my vision. Holy shit, is this side chick's brother blind, or what? That is clearly the villain's little brother. The villain just woke up and chose violence. He found out his precious baby brother is being bullied by these peasants. He is absolutely going to slaughter this girl's entire damn family, right on cue. The deafening roar of rotor blades shook the house. A black helicopter was descending right onto our front lawn. A man stepped out of the chopper, looking like the Grim Reaper in a designer black trench coat. He radiated pure cold-blooded murder. But before he could even open his mouth, the little guy sprinted out of the house and blocked his path. It's not time yet, keep it down, or you're gonna wake up. Annie, my brother Chad, married a girl way out of his league and moved to New York faster than a rat, fleeing a sinking ship to avoid being separated from his wife Tiffany. He basically cut ties with the Buns. Except for major holidays, we only communicated by a text. Rumor had it they had a son, but Tiffany refused to let the kid come out to our redneck backwater, claiming he'd get sick or allergic to the air, or some bullshit. My mom nagged him about it constantly, so when we heard he was finally bringing his son back for Thanksgiving, my parents were over the moon. They bought enough food to feed an army. The day Chad came home, I was waiting on the porch in my oversized pajamas, hands in my pockets, vibing with maximum laziness. Family is family. No need to dress up. A rental SUV pulled into the driveway. Chad pushed the door open, stepping out in a crisp, tailored suit like he was some Wall Street hotshot, and excitedly opened the rear door. A little boy silently stepped out. I squinted. The kid's skin was pale as milk, his eyelids heavy, looking totally over it, but damn, he was cute. Eyelashes like little fans, casting shadows on his cheeks. What the absolute hell? How did Chad's mediocre gene pool produce this masterpiece? I was instantly jealous. Chloe, Chad shouted, walking toward me with his arms open. I walked right past him, squatted down, and bear hugged the kid. Oof. Come here, let Annie give you a squeeze. Caught off guard, the little guy froze stiff. He looked at my grinning face, and the tips of his ears slowly turned bright red, but he didn't say a word. My mom was obsessed with him immediately, calling him Grandma's precious angel every 5 seconds. But nobody expected what happened next. Dad stood by the car, watching us swarm the kid. He took 2 steps back and, with the speed of a thief in the night, jumped back into the driver's seat. Mom, Dad, Chloe, Tiffany, and I are going to Cabo for a few weeks. We're leaving Junior with you. Good luck. Me? Mom and Dad? The kid. I was dumbfounded, but reality hit me like a brick. Motherfucker. I knew there was a reason. Chad brought the kid back. He was dumping his baggage on us, after mentally performing a Mortal Kombat fatality on my brother. I turned back to look at the stunned kid. Poor little bastard. Abandoned by his own unreliable dad, just like that. I reached out and grabbed a small hand. Come on, let's go inside. The little guy flinched, trying to pull back, but I held on. His face was tense, eyes scanning the surroundings with pure suspicion. I ignored it and went inside to destroy the Thanksgiving feast. My parents were annoyed but helpless. They just kept piling food onto the kid's plate. Eat up, sweetie. The boy, let's call him Leo for now, moved his lips like he wanted to speak, but eventually just looked down and stayed silent. After dinner, Mom went to play bingo with the neighbors, and Dad went fishing, leaving just me and Leo staring at each other. Great. The world where I do all the heavy lifting has officially arrived. But contrary to the chaotic babysitting nightmare I expected, Leo was quiet, too quiet. He just sat on the couch like a statue. I thought for a second, then turned on a comedy channel. He clearly seen this kind of trash TV before because he was glued to the screen. I sat next to him and patted his head. Funny, right? The little guy looked back at me and nodded, his eyes actually sparkling a bit. I scoffed lightly. Babysitting? Piece of cake. Easier than breathing. The afternoon flew by and night fell. Mom and Dad came back and we started making homemade pizza. I watched Leo frowning, trying to place the pepperoni with surgical precision. I smirked, dipped my finger in flour, and booped his nose. Gotcha. The sneak attack stunned him. He looked at me dazed. Took him a solid 10 seconds to react, his face turning red with anger. I laughed my ass off bullying children. Surprisingly fun. After dinner, we watched TV as a family. Mom and Dad realized the kid was shy and introverted, so they didn't push him. They had already set up a guest room for him, I went back to my room to finish a trashy romance novel I started. I thought the night was over, but around 2 a.m., I woke up thirsty as hell. I walked past the guest room. The light was still on. Why is he still up? I frowned and knocked. No answer. Feeling something was off, I pushed the door open. The scene froze me in place. The little boy was sitting on the floor, back against the bed, curled up into a ball, with his head on his knees. Hearing the door, he looked up. His eyes were wet. My heart twitched. Is he scared seeing me? He wiped his tears aggressively, looking embarrassed and angry. Why did you come? And I sighed, walked over and squatted to his eye level. Don't be scared, kiddo. We're family. We aren't gonna hurt you. Go to sleep. I'll watch over you until you pass out, Leo. He lowered his head, mumbling stubbornly, I don't need anyone. Oh. Tough guy, huh? I picked him up, dumped him on the bed, tucked him in, and poked his red nose. Short kids stay short if they don't sleep. I started patting his back lightly, just like my mom used to do for me. Leo stared at me for a minute, but eventually, his eyes closed and he drifted off. During his breathing settle, I tried to leave, but I felt a tug. His hand was gripping the hem of my pajamas for dear life every time I tried to move. He frowned in his sleep. After 3 attempts, I gave up. Me, whatever. He's my nephew. I crashed on the bed next to him and passed out. The next morning, sunlight blasted through the curtains. I woke up to a zoomed-in view of a small face. Kit's cheeks were crimson, pointing a finger at me. Why are you still here? I was still half asleep. So, I slapped his hand away. Respect your elders, brat. I'm your aunt, Chloe. Leo, I'm not. He swallowed whatever he was about to say, looking at me like he had a secret. I ignored it, thinking he just needed to pee. But instead of getting up, he lay back down and whispered, I'm just gonna lie here a little longer. Me. You do, kid, you do. After that night, Leo and I got closer, even though he refused to call me auntie. I didn't care. During the break, my parents went visiting relatives. I was too lazy to move, so I slept like the dead, completely forgetting there was a child in the house who needed food to survive. Until a knock came at my door. I rolled over, annoyed. Who is it? Didn't Mom and Dad leave? Silence outside. A long pause later, a small voice spoke up. Sister. Sister, I don't have a brother. Wait, I have Chad, but he's in Cabo. Seeing no reaction, the person outside yelled louder, Auntie, hi, Auntie. My brain rebooted. I opened my eyes. Oh, right, the nephew. I dragged myself out of bed and opened the door. Leo was standing there looking awkward. He peed at me, looked down at his socks, and whispered, I'm hungry. I scratched my messy head, brain completely empty, and blurted out, yeah, me too. Wake me up earlier next time, Leo? Seeing his eyes go wide with disbelief, I realized what I just said. Haha. Most people wouldn't have the audacity to say that to a starving child. Screw it. I fled to the kitchen. I boiled some instant noodles and threw in an egg. Gourmet chef, I know. Leo wasn't picky. He ate whatever I put in front of him. After eating, I rummaged through my secret stash in my room and brought out the snacks. Leo sat obediently on the couch, staring at the bag of chips in my hand like a puppy. A wicked idea formed in my head. I waved the bag in front of him. Call me my queen, and I'll give you some. The kid froze. He pressed his lips together, refusing to open his mouth. I raised an eyebrow, ripped the bag open, and started eating the chips myself. Crunch, crunch. The smell of artificial cheese filled the room. Leo swallowed hard. He stared at me for a long time before finally squeezing out, my queen. What was that? I can't hear you. I pretended to be deaf. The kid's face turned tomato red. Maybe it was anger, maybe it was desperation, but he yelled at the top of his lungs, my queen. I almost went deaf for real seeing his puffed up cheeks. I found it adorable and shoved a chip into his mouth. All right, you are dismissed. Just one. He looked betrayed. I kept a straight face. Junk food stunts your growth. Yep, I felt pretty generous. If it were Chad, I wouldn't have given him a single crumb. I would have made him take out the trash. 2. The kid took a deep breath and stomped back to his room. The rotor blades were loud enough to rattle my fillings, but the adrenaline from the scene on the lawn was louder. Leo, or whatever his real name was, stood with his arms spread wide, a tiny, trembling shield between the house and the man in the trench coat. The man stopped. He was tall, unnaturally tall. The kind of tall where you have to duck under door frames and probably have back problems, but he looked too expensive to have back problems. He looked down at Leo. His expression didn't change. It was a face carved out of marble and bad intentions. Move, Leonardo, the man said. His voice was deep, like gravel grinding in a blender. No. Leo squeaked, then cleared his throat and tried to deepen his voice. No. She's sleeping. If you wake her up, she gets cranky. The chat scrolling across my vision, which I had decided was either a stroke or a weird new contact lens malfunction, exploded. XX_Shadowslayer_XX. OMG, he's protecting the NPC ant. Simp 4 villain, the villain king has arrived. Zade Blackwood. Popcorn lover, RIP Auntie. It was nice knowing you. She's gonna get vaporized. Coffee addict. Wait, did the kid just say she gets cranky? That's the only reason he stopped the slaughter? Zade Blackwood? What kind of edgy anime name was that? I watched from the window, hiding behind the curtain like a nosy grandmother. The man, Zade, tilted his head. He looked from the kid to the house. Then he did something unexpected. He knelt on the dirty grass, in a suit that probably cost more than my parents' mortgage. Who is she? Zade asked, his voice low. The kidnapper? No. Leo stomped his foot. She's my queen. Silence. Even the helicopter pilot seemed to kill the engine out of sheer confusion. Zade stared at the boy. Your queen? She feeds me chips, Leo explained, deadly serious. And she let me sleep in her bed when I was scared. She didn't ask for ransom. She just asked for respect. The chat went wild again. Lulzmanger. The chips of loyalty. User 992. He has been tamed by junk food. I realized two things simultaneously. Chad was definitely not Leo's dad. My brother drove a Honda Civic. He didn't share DNA with people who owned attack helicopters. If I didn't go out there, this villain might decide to level the house just to be safe. I took a deep breath, grabbed a half-empty bag of pretzels for a weapon, and kicked the front door open. Oi! I yelled, scratching my stomach through my oversized, I paused my game to be here t-shirt. Do you have any idea what time it is? Some of us are trying to hibernate. Zade looked up. His eyes were gray. Cold. Dead. Shark gray. He stood up slowly, towering over me. Are you the woman holding my brother? Holding him, I scoffed, walking down the porch steps in my bunny slippers. I'm not holding him. He's holding onto my leg half the night like a koala. And you. I pointed a pretzel at his chest. You're trespassing. And you're loud. Unacceptable combination. Leo looked terrified. He looked back and forth between us, waiting for Zade to snap my neck. Instead, Zade stared at the pretzel, then at my messy hair, then at the chat floating in the air next to my head, which apparently only I could see. Villain simp. She just pointed a pretzel at the lord of the underworld. Chaos gamer, marriage material. I am Zade Blackwood, he said, adjusting his cuff. I am taking Leonardo home. No, Leo said, grabbing my pant leg. I want to stay. Chad left. Auntie Chloe is here. She's funny. She doesn't make me learn piano. Zade's eye twitched. Chad? The driver? Yeah, I interrupted, crunching on the pretzel. My idiot brother. Look, Mr. Blackwood or whatever. I don't know what drama you have going on, but the kid looks like he hasn't slept in a week until last night. You want him? Fine. But you're not dragging him off while he looks like a zombie. Come inside. I'll make coffee. Instant. Take it or leave it. I turned around and walked back into the house, leaving my back completely exposed to the murderer. It was a power move born of pure laziness. I just didn't want to argue anymore. Behind me, I heard a sigh. Very well, Zade said. The villain was sitting at my kitchen table. It was surreal. He looked like a panther forced to sit in a cardboard box. I slapped a mug of instant coffee in front of him. Drink. Don't die. Leo was sitting next to him, munching on the pretzels I had abandoned. So, I leaned against the counter. Let's clear the air. Chad isn't the dad. Chad is the driver. Which makes Chad a kidnapper? Opportunist, Zade corrected, taking a sip of the coffee. He grimaced but swallowed it. He was supposed to drive Leonardo to his violin lesson. Instead, he drove him 3 states away and sent me a ransom demand. And then he went to Cabo. I deadpanned. He went to Cabo? Zade's voice dropped 10 degrees. With Tiffany, his wife, who I assume is also not real. Tiffany is a waitress he met at a dive bar. She knows nothing. Zade looked at Leo. And you didn't run away. Chad said he had a gun, Leo mumbled. But then he got here, and he got scared of Grandma, so he ran away. I pinched the bridge of my nose. My brother is a moron. A criminal moron. Great. The chat text floated by again. Streamer God, new quest, protect the moron sister. Lols. Look at Zade. He's confused. He's never seen a woman wear socks that don't match. So, Zade set the mug down. I will handle Chad. My men are already intercepting him in Mexico. He will not enjoy his vacation. Fine by me, I shrugged. Just don't kill him. Mom would be sad. Maiming is negotiable. Zade actually blinked. You don't care? He dumped a kidnapped child on me and ruined my holiday nap schedule, I said flatly. I'm petty. I like her, Leo declared. Brother, can we stay? Just for Thanksgiving? You promised you'd take a break. Leonardo, we live in a fortress. This is a... Zade looked around the kitchen, eyeing the peeling wallpaper. Shack. It's rustic, I corrected. And I make excellent pizza. Assuming I can order it. Zade looked at Leo. The kid looked happy. happier than he'd apparently been in the fortress. The scary man in the suit seemed to deflate slightly. 2 days, Zade said. My security team will secure the perimeter. I will stay here to ensure Leonardo is safe until we depart. You're staying here? I looked him up and down. We don't have a guest room anymore. Leo took it. I do not sleep, Zade said ominously. Suit yourself, Batman. The couch pulls out, but the springs bite. The next 48 hours were a fever dream. Zade Blackwood, feared CEO of the Blackwood conglomerate and leader of an underground syndicate, according to the chat, tried to exist in a middle-class suburban home. It went about as well as you'd expect. Incident 1. The dishwasher. I walked in to find Zade staring at the dishwasher like it was a bomb. It doesn't require a passcode, I said, leaning in the doorway. Just press normal wash. It is making a grinding noise. That's the song of its people. Leave it. Incident 2. The grocery run. My mom called to say they were extending their trip because Dad pulled a mussel fishing. That left me to feed the billionaire and the heir. We need food, I announced. I will have a Michelin chef flown in, Zade said, reaching for his phone. No. We're getting tacos from the truck down the street. Put on normal clothes. Zade didn't have normal clothes. He went to the taco truck in a 3-piece suit without the jacket, sleeves rolled up. The chat went nuclear. Simp 4 Zade, forearms. Thirsty gamer, I would let him tax evade all over me. Observer, watch out, suspicious car at 3 o'clock. I saw the comment just as a beat-up sedan screeched around the corner. A gun barrel poked out the window. Down. Zade didn't just shout, he moved. He tackled me into the dirt behind the taco truck. Bullets pinged off the metal siding of the truck. The taco guy screamed and ducked. My tacos. I yelled, outraged. Zade was on top of me, heavy and warm, smelling like expensive cologne and gunpowder. He pulled a handgun from somewhere near his kidney. Stay down, he commanded. He popped up, fired 3 shots with terrifying precision. Pop, pop, pop. And the sedan's tires blew out. The car swerved and crashed into a fire hydrant. Zade stood up, dusted off his trousers, and looked at me. Are you injured? I lay in the dirt, blinking. You owe me lunch. Zade stared at me. Then, the corner of his mouth twitched. A smile. A tiny, microscopic smile. I will buy the truck, he said. That night, Zade and Leo were asleep. Zade actually passed out on the lumpy couch, exhaustion finally hitting him. I sat in the kitchen, staring at the scrolling text. Lorem ipsum, the connection is stable. The hostess has awakened the narrative interface. Spoiler alert, warning, the rival syndicate Red Viper knows Zade is there. They aren't coming for Zade. They're coming for the weakness. Gamer girl, the weakness isn't Leo anymore. It's Chloe. I choked on my water. Me? I'm the weakness? I'm an NPC. Admin, not anymore. You have high affinity with the target. You are now the love interest. Love interest? I hissed at the air. I didn't sign up for a romance arc. I signed up for a nap arc. Suddenly, the front door clicked. It wasn't Zade's security team. I knew that sound. It was the lock-picking set Chad had bought off eBay years ago to break into his own house when he lost his keys. The door creaked open. Chad stood there. He looked sunburned, sweaty, and terrified. Behind him were 3 men who definitely weren't Tiffany. They were built like brick houses and held suppressed pistols. Chloe, Chad whimpered. I'm so sorry, Chad, I said, putting my mug down. You are grounded. One of the men stepped forward. Where is Blackwood? I looked at the chat. Combat guide. Activate Lazy Fury. Buff. Plus 50% speed when annoyed. He's sleeping, I said, standing up. And if you wake him up, he gets cranky. But if you wake the kid up, I get cranky. The man laughed and raised his gun. I grabbed the frying pan from the drying rack. It was cast iron. Heavy. Chad, duck, I said. Chad dropped. I yeeted the pan. It spun through the air with the grace of a chaotic frisbee and connected with the lead gunman's face with a sickening clang. He dropped like a sack of potatoes. The other 2 froze. What the? Before they could aim, a shadow detached itself from the hallway. Zade was there. He wasn't wearing his jacket. He moved like liquid smoke. He grabbed the second man's wrist, twisted it until a bone snapped, and kicked the third man through the open door. It was over in 4 seconds. Zade stood over the unconscious bodies, chest heaving slightly. He looked at me. He looked at the frying pan on the floor. Cast iron, he noted. Good balance. It's seasoned, I said, my knees shaking slightly. Don't touch it with soap. Chad was curled up in the fetal position on the doormat. Please don't kill me. Zade walked over to Chad. He crouched down. You stole my brother. I needed the money. I owe these guys. Chad sobbed, gesturing to the unconscious goons. And you brought them to my sister's house? I added, crossing my arms. Chad, you are literally the worst. Zade looked at me. He endangered you. Yeah, well, he's an idiot. We don't kill idiots in this family. We just mock them relentlessly until they develop character. Zade stood up.
He pulled out his phone.
Clean up crew.
Now.
And bring a lawyer. We have a custody agreement to draft. The black helicopter was back on the lawn 2 days later. Chad was being escorted by Zade's lawyers to a secure location where he would work off his debt doing manual labor for one of Zade's shell companies. Tiffany had apparently dumped him the second the credit card bounced. Leo stood by the chopper, looking sad. He wore a new coat I'd bought him at Target. Do I have to go? He asked. Yeah, kid, I said, patting his head. You got school. And piano. And Empire stuff. Will you come visit? Leo asked. I looked at Zade. He was watching me with that intensity that made my skin prickle. New York is far, I complained. And loud. And I have to wear real pants. I will send the chopper, Zade said. Door to door. Pajamas are acceptable. The chat scrolled by one last time. Shipper on deck, he said pajamas are acceptable. Victory. Quest complete. Survive the holidays. Next season, loading season 2. I smirked.
Fine.
But I'm bringing the frying pan. Zade smirked back, a real, genuine smile that made him look less like the Grim Reaper and more like a fallen angel. I would expect nothing less, my queen. Leo giggled. I rolled my eyes. Get out of here before I change my mind. As the chopper lifted off, kicking up dust and leaves, I stood on the porch, hand in my pocket, watching them go. The house was quiet. The snacks were safe. My bed was calling. But as I turned back inside, I saw the bag of Doritos on the counter. I smiled, grabbed a chip, and whispered to the empty room. Not bad for a holiday. I flopped onto the couch, ready to finally get some sleep. But my phone buzzed. New text from unknown number. We landed. Leonardo misses you. I am currently tolerating his request to buy Funyuns. When can I expect you?
Z.
I groaned, smiling at the screen. Idiots, I mumbled, typing back. Send the chopper on Friday. And bring pizza. I closed my eyes. Being the main character was exhausting, but the perks weren't half bad.